Well, you're doing it to manage the insecurities of the parents, not the education of the children. Because the aim is to keep the parents happy. How do you keep people happy? By managing their insecurities.
Mm.
The children are almost irrelevant in education. The question, the question, what does the child need, is always secondary to what does the parent want. Because the parents are the people that you have to keep happy. You keep the kids happy as well, but you have to keep the parents more happy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Because they
Is
are
it,
the clients.
they're the real client. I mean, the personally, the child is the actual client, but the child has no say. And you can argue that that's logical because they don't know, but you're putting them in a situation where they don't have a choice. You're forcing them, right? Force equals
Mm.
failure. Force is failure to understand. Like the things not measured in school. Creativity, critical thinking, resilience, motivation, persistence, curiosity, asking questions, humor, endurance, reliability, enthusiasm, civil-mindedness, self-awareness, self-discipline, empathy, leadership, compassion, courage, sense of beauty, sense of wonder, resourcefulness, spontaneity, humility, etc., etc., etc. All of the key qualities of life. None of them focused on in any school. Yeah. So, hmm,
Mm.
hmm. Yeah, passion.
Mm.
Is passion in that list? Passion's not in that list. I mean, the single thing that makes more people happy than anything else is the ability to live a passionate life, to spend time on their passions. And I don't remember anybody ever saying that to me at school. I mean, there'd be a couple of good teachers here and there who are like, well, what's your passion? What gets you excited? So that will guide people in the right direction, but it's it's rare.
Where did you study it? Actually, I have a question. I remember we were a long time ago. We were talking about your native speaker academy. You were teaching English and French, correct?
Yeah, yeah, there was English, French, and Spanish there. Yeah.
And Spanish. Where did you grow up? I remember, or in my mind, this is stuck with you. Like when you were growing up, your parents traveled a little bit, or
No,
no?
no,
Not.
I grew up in a little village in the middle of nowhere in the Scottish Highlands, and I call it the Highlands. The people here don't call it the Highlands because there's this little region in between places that's on the way to the Highlands, but it might just as well be the Highlands because it's very remote and very isolated place. And yeah, I grew up there. I had sort of had one of those childhoods where you don't have to worry about too much, and that can be as bad as it is good. Yeah. Um, I'll tell you a little story. I don't know what this means, but I think it means that you can try to do everything right, but still end up with the wrong result. I always relate things to cooking. You can try to bake a cake and you can sort of get everything right, but the end result can just be bleh, yeah, just not quite what you wanted. And so where I grew up, which I can actually see through the window there, like across this bay to the area that I grew up in. Um, I was told never swim in the river because it's fast flowing and it's dangerous and you could die.
Mm.
I was like, oh, okay. Thank you. Never to swim in the river. I don't want to die. Okay. And earlier this year, I was jogging in that area and I crossed a bridge, crossed over the river that was the river that you don't swim there, you could die. And there were some kids swimming in the river. And so I stopped and I went, I walked down this little path to the edge of the river, and there were some kids sitting at the side. And I said, is it safe to swim here? They were like, yeah. So I took off my shirt and went in the water and I swam. And I got out of the water and I was like, so what I was told was bullshit. Complete bullshit. And so there's a lot of that in life. And the ability to the ability to parse, to separate information into what is right, what is wrong, what is true, what is false, the ability of discernment, realization of the truth, the things that are not really ever focused on in school, but are absolutely essential for a successful life. And so I realized that the process through which I grew up was the process of it was almost brainwashing to think a certain way that was not true.
But what you've been told, especially with the river, do not swim in it. It's strong. The currents, it will take you, wash you off. You will be dead.
Yeah, remember.
It's like like going on your own and trying.
Well, remember, the teacher exists to manage other people's insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
So my ability to self-determine my own future was limited by other people's insecurities about what they thought was right for them, and so they thought it was right for everybody. And so that's why I always come back to I don't know what's right for everybody or anybody. I've got this little bit of experience that I can share, but I don't know and how anybody else can be sure of it. I'm pretty sure that nobody else is sure, right?
That's important to say. It's just like I do not know. This is my experience. I do not know what's good for you or right for you to do or not to do. This is where I'm coming from, and this is what I know. I'm explaining.
Yeah, I was at a business showcase, like new businesses present their work yesterday, and I was blown away by people's ability to achieve the seemingly impossible. Like for one woman here locally to start a company making coats for dogs